Austin Daniel. Hey guys, how are ya?
Good evening.
Hey, Grant.
Good.
Yeah, good.
It is 4 p.m. Eastern here in the Midwest. Thank you for joining us. What time is it where you are?
9 p.m. in the UK in the evening.
Yeah,
Just getting started. Just getting
9
started.
p.m. in the evening.
just getting the day started.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to Spot or to Sprocketeer. This is Sprocketeer Masterclass. We have a special guest with us today. Before we get over to them, I want to say we love you, Sprocketeers. We're here to champion HubSpot super admins, and that in a couple ways. Right now, weekly newsletters is what that looks like. Podcast explaining people to us, and these masterclasses go through HubSpot applications and help us understand when to click install. With us today, who just said hello from OrgChartHub, we have Daniel and Austin. OrgChartHub is this cool tool built on top of HubSpot. So those of you Sprocketeers listening right now, I just want to be clear. HubSpot is a platform. It can do what you'd like it to do. These gentlemen are about to share with us a way for you to organize and visualize your organization or sort of record that you're wanting to see that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do without OrgChartHub, and built it on top of HubSpot. So as you listen today, be thinking about how you can build on top of HubSpot, because that's what you can do. And we're showing here, Sprocketeer. All right, guys, we're here. We met at Inbound last week. Super excited to have finally you on the masterclass. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Super exciting to see you in person. You're just as much fun in person as you are on Zoom, which was good.
We had a good time. You were the first two that I got to have a drink with. Saw you right away in the lobby, and right away you already had a surprise that I didn't realize could be a surprise. I thought you already had showed me all this stuff, but alas, there is more. We even have something like that today. Get to. So Daniel and Austin, the co-founders of OrgChartHub, they're going to share with us what it is OrgChartHub does and why you would use it, and then walk us through how. I will pass it over. Go ahead and share the screen. Going.
Excellent. Yep, so you can see everything there. I think just before we get stuck in to showing you around, as Grant probably mentioned a moment ago, it's worth saying we were HubSpot customers first, trying to solve our own problem. So me and Austin worked for the same software company back in 2016, is that right, Austin? 2016, 2017?
Yeah, that's about right.
And we was at that business. We were selling to very large businesses. So some of our customers were big pharmaceutical brands. IBM was another one. So some big software brands. And HubSpot was relatively new. The CRM side of HubSpot was relatively new. So that came out around 2016. So we must have been some of the very first users on the CRM. And one of the big things that me and my team were struggling with. So I was their first sales rep and became their head of account management, and Austin was one of the first engineers. So me and Austin spoke a lot, hence why we now work together and are co-founders and good friends. But one of the problems I mentioned to Austin in those early days was, okay, well, I'm working with these big businesses, but I can't really tell where are the key decision makers, where do they sit in the business. I need to visualize this, I need to understand this, and I need the team to understand this. So I was working on, me and my team were working on spreadsheets, we were working on real-time boards in some cases. The problem with that was it's completely disconnected from HubSpot. So luckily, HubSpot's got a pretty good API that we could hook into. Austin built the very first version which was an internal tool for us. And then we thought, okay, well, we probably should offer this to other HubSpot customers. And that's when things started kicking off, and that's when we became full-time on OrgChartHub. So the only reason I kind of tell that story is because we are HubSpot customers. We were HubSpot customers back then. We still are HubSpot customers today, obviously. But we're also certified app partners, and we only build applications for HubSpot. So for that reason, OrgChartHub.
That's the way to
for
do it.
For that reason, OrgChartHub only opens up from inside of HubSpot. So you don't open it up from anywhere else. And so I'm going to talk through 2 parts of OrgChartHub, and then Austin's going to show you some of the secret sauce at the end. So the 2 parts that I'm going to show you is the org chart side of things, and then I'm also going to show you the account mapping side. I'm actually going to start with the account mapping side of things. So what this does is it works with parent-child relationships inside of HubSpot. This is sometimes called related companies. When you're working with very big businesses, this can get pretty deep. So what we do is we reflect that structure back to you. So most companies immediately go to full screen here, so you can hit full screen like so, and it will take you to this. Now all of a sudden you can see, okay, here's the related companies. You can see who you're working with and who you're not working with. And then also you can add parent-child relationships in here. So how that works is you just click on the company you want to add a child to, and search in the top right-hand corner. So, and add your child company in there. That syncs both ways with HubSpot. So if you add it in the account mapping, it will sync back into HubSpot. If you do it in HubSpot, it will sync back through in here and represent on your account map. The thing that a lot of people got excited about, and a lot of our customers got excited about recently, is we do something that isn't possible in HubSpot today. I think it will be possible at some point soon, but it isn't possible yet. We actually roll up the deals to the parent company. So a lot of our customers and anybody that sells to big businesses, one of their strategies is land and expand. They'll land in one particular part of a business, and then they'll work their way across the rest of the business units. So this is an example where if I flip this to close one, what it's showing us is this is the deal that's been landed, and there's also been a deal here on the parent company. So far, done a good number of 160,000 on this particular business. It rolls it up at the top there. If I click on open deals, I've got 200,000 open on this particular account that needs to be closed out. This is really helpful for deal reviews. It's really helpful to just help you spot the white space on how you expand across a business. We also, let me just flick on this. Also had a very quick suggestion from a customer saying, actually, can you help us out by breaking it down by pipeline? Because again, some businesses sell multiple different products, so they have different pipelines as well. So you can work your way through that. So yeah, that's the account mapping side of things. Close that down for a second. And then the org chart, this is connected to your company profile. So in this case, this company is called Beyond Visual. If I open the org chart just from the right hand side here, this is a chart that's already partially built out. And again, most of our customers just hit full screen straight away. So I'll just do the same. Gives you a little bit more space to work in. And what you can see here is the beginnings of the buying group and the decision makers that we're working with. So you'll see some relationship lines that we put in place. There's some buying roles that are on these contacts. So what I'll do is just really quickly show you how you add a contact. So you can either do that from the contact level here. So click on a contact and go, okay, I'm going to add an employee. Search for the employee. So in this case, we'll put Gary on it. It pops Gary onto the chart just like that. You can operate from the side panel as well if you want to. And it's also worth mentioning you can pull in contacts from outside of the company. So if you, for example, sell alongside a partner, this is really helpful because you can add the partner onto the chart. So you might add them as an individual because they're not in the reporting structure. And from there, you can go, okay, let's add some relationships. And you can click on the lines and add any notes that you want to as well. I'll start with the colors so that in terms of what they mean that you can see here. So these are buying roles. This is talked about a lot. There's a number of different sales methodologies where they talk about buying roles. I'll maybe send you a couple of links afterwards, Grant, so maybe you can point to some of those. But it's a property inside of HubSpot. It comes with the target account functionality. And so you get some default ones set automatically, but we also allow you to create any new buying roles. So we do have customers, for example, that are part of customer success. So they use OrgChartHub, so they understand the people that are using their product and make sure that they get the renewal. So what they sometimes do is create new buying roles, identifying who are the main users, who are the super users, and that sort of stuff as well. So you can do that. And just like account mapping, this syncs backwards and forwards with HubSpot. So if you tag someone up as a super user, like I just did there, I'll sync back onto the contact within HubSpot, which is really helpful if you want to kind of run campaigns on buying roles, for example. That's quite a common use case. The thing that, a bit like deal activity, something else that we were excited to put in place on OrgChartHub, which pretty unusual, but people love it, is activity heat map. So I'm just going to flick this on. And what this represents, is activity on the sales side. So I'm just going to flick this over to sales activity. And what we mean by sales activity is this is actually a property inside of HubSpot. So if you want to see this broken down, these are the fields here. So in this particular case, on sales activity, is anything that has happened on that contact. So if you put a note on a contact, if you've got a phone call, if you sent an email and it's been opened, that's sales activity. So sorry, when I mean email, I mean an individual email, not a marketing email. So in this case, this is a bit of a problem in this particular org chart. You should never be just speaking to two people when you're selling to a big business, because they are not going to make the decision. There's a much bigger buying group that are going to make the decision. So as a sales rep, if you're focusing on just two individuals, which is what this is suggesting, this is a problem. So this is a good place to come and actually do a deal review and see how you're doing on a particular account. We allow you to flex the time up and down because if you're in sales, then you probably want to move it down to 1 month or 2 months, because you're going to have short, sharp conversations because you're trying to close out a deal. So this makes this map even worse because there's very little communication. If I stretch this out to 6 months, 12 months, this becomes a bit more useful if you're in customer success or you're an account manager and you've been looking after an account for a while, so you're actually more comfortable with longer communication. So that's why we allow you to do that. And then, marketing activity. This is combining the two is useful if you have account-based marketing strategy and an account-based sales strategy, and you're working together with the marketing team. Because if you flick it over to marketing, you'll see here, this person, Karen, has been consuming marketing content. But if I move it to sales activity, she's not actually been engaged from a sales perspective. So it helps highlight individuals where you might be able to reach out to them and pull them into the conversation. And do you have any questions on that? I heard you chuckle for a second.
It's amazing, is what all I want to start with. And the amount of how to, but when you do that focus and you share the focus on the heat map. I mean, the heat map's amazing is where I'm gonna start. The heat map is amazing. Then the filters on top of it. When people looking at this, if you're a Sprocketeer right now, look, never been able to see from a single view, one, the entire organization, two, then where activities are happening. I mean, this is what you should be using. Right? I apologize. And so,
That's all right.
on top of that, what is it that we should know? The other thing I wanted to call out was the two-way sync, that whether or not your spot you're able to see.
Yeah, so that's specifically on a few things. So like buy and roll is the key one. It's worth also mentioning, like while we're just touching on the activity heat map, the reason that all came about was because we allowed customers to customize these labels. So if I click on Aaron again here, if I scroll down to the bottom, I can pick any HubSpot property, like contact property that I want to see on that label, and I can click it. It'll apply to this org chart and all of the org charts that you've built. So it makes things nice and simple. So like attending inbound here as well.
Those labels you can set to any property.
Exactly. Yeah. So like including custom ones. So there's one here which is called disk type. So that's like a personality type, which is inside our account as a custom property. And so like you can display that, for example, or any other custom properties that you may have. And you can do that. You can do that on the account mapping side as well.
So under Karen has sales, but then budget holder. How do I get the property to be in that area? Can I choose any property to be in that little section?
No, not in this section. That's dedicated to the buy and roll side of things. So I can chop and change that on here. As I mentioned briefly, like you can add the new buy and rolls in there, but for the rest of the information, I have to list it just below there on that front.
And then what I choose on that record stays on that record, or I can show it across the entire org.
Yeah, so actually when you set it, it actually works across the whole of your OrgChartHub account, so it will update everything and put everything on. So it's not a place that people tend to go regularly. Usually when you first set things up between you and the rest of the sales team, you might decide, okay, this is what we want on the contact cards. And where you see like Gary here, for example,
Right.
the only reason job title isn't there is because it's not inside a HubSpot, so we won't show it.
Daniel, that is the first thing my eye told me was, all right, well, I don't see it on some, so what should that tell me as are? And this could be a great place to say, we just don't have this information for the person yet.
Yeah, exactly. And talking of which, leads me nicely, Grant. Thank you for that. So we have a placeholder contact, and this gets used a lot by a lot of customers. The reason for that is most of the time when you're first like doing demoing and you're going through the sales process, you don't always know like the email address of the people that you're necessarily speaking to. Like very frequently, you might be on a call and someone will say, "Oh yeah, we need to pull in John from procurement," and you're like, you want to ask about John, but you're not going to have his email address. So you would go, okay, we know John is going to be important, so we'll add him in here. We'll put his name in, so we know it's John. We know he's in procurement. You might put some notes in there just so you know to follow up. You might know also that it was Andy, for example, that referenced John, so you might put a note on that, and this is the relationship line in between. So, and then when you have John inside your HubSpot CRM, just swap them out with the actual contact. It's just a click of a button there, and then you find him.
Choose.
Yeah.
You could even build out could I build out a template org chart?
I mean, technically you could. We don't actually see that very often. Most of the time, what people tend to do is put onto the chart the contacts they're working with, and then over time they start to like figure out, okay, I can see where they're structured. And I would encourage users to do that. Like throw onto the chart who you're speaking with. Don't worry too much about the massive structure of that business to start with, and then work your way into it. That'll be my suggestion.
Yeah, it never come across, and I had heard anyone say that before. Having like fill in, expect to have these couple people.
Yeah.
Well, just kind of
Um,
that's how it.
yeah. And then something that's not so obvious, but back in the day, we used to get this asked a lot, didn't we, Austin? Um, we this was actually more Austin ought to attest to this. This was more complicated than we thought it was going to be, but you can download images of these charts, and the reason teams do that is sometimes they'll use them in internal presentations when they're doing quarterly reviews, and they'll say, "This is the account I'm working on. Here's the decision makers," or some very brave salespeople. I was never brave enough to do this. Will export it and then share it back with the customer and say, "Have I got this right? Have I got everybody in here?" So yeah, that's in there as well.
If you trust your customer enough to not freak them out.
Yeah, yeah, you have to have a proper champion to to show that to.
Let's go. Speaking of sales, on the back to the show us that screen.
Hmm.
One, it's
Yeah.
powerful. Two, the routing I think makes so much sense that it is easily overlooked, and it's easily assumed that I know exactly what's happening. Uh, and I want to run through scenarios to just clarify it and clear that. All right, so and I have 160K.
Yeah, so like if you imagine this as a company like let's say you're selling into Amazon, right? And Amazon have so many different business units and different businesses under that umbrella of Amazon. Um, then like then what you've got here is like maybe the start of Amazon, and this can go like multiple levels deep. And a lot of our customers do go multiple levels deep. So if they're working with a bank, for example, again, that's another example where like banks have so many subsidiaries and
Right.
divisions that you can sell into. So actually, like we see this going like 3 or 4 levels deep sometimes, of the parent-child relationships. So the thing that is tricky to understand if you're just looking at one screen inside a HubSpot is what does this structure actually look like? And so this is the bit that we offer out the gate here. But then the bit on top is okay. Well, the deal activity is what deals do I have on each individual child company, and how does that roll up to the parent company?
Right.
So one thing I didn't touch on is like obviously because we very tightly integrated with HubSpot is when I click on this deal in here, it'll open up a separate tab for me and take me straight to that
Ah,
deal, um,
so
and
in
like
HubSpot, I'm
navigating
seeing
into
that.
yeah, yeah. So there we go. That's taking us straight to that deal.
And so great to see the deal record. I just wanted to clarify while you're right here. So I see 200K at the top. As far as a
Yep.
deal goes, tell me the timeline. Is this deals closed? This just deals and someone typed in something? Do I see stage at all? Or is this inherently open or closed deal?
Yeah. So these are open deals, and then these ones are closed one deals. And then the bit that you can do in here is pick pipeline. So if you've got a few different pipelines for different products, or you might have a pipeline for renewals, or you might have a pipeline for sales separately, then you can pick in between. You can't pick between deal stage just yet, but this is pretty new. It's not that old.
Received. And
So
so
you might see that at some point.
those of you listening in, phoning it in right now, switch over to this tab, look at the screen. Up at the top, you have a toggle, open deals and close one deal. And then there's a drop down of all of your pipeline. So all of a sudden, as SDR or you're just a salesperson and you're trying to see again in this organization, see what you have open and closed. And if you have a renewals versus something you're currently working, usually in a larger org pipeline, you're all of a sudden able to see each of those things that you listed on the subsidiary, right, or department, depending on how they're organized and where they're coming from. It's just such a big
Yeah.
deal. it visually is doing so much for us. I appreciate taking the time to.
There's another thing on this chart as well. Sorry, Dan, to flick back to it.
Yeah.
Our demo data is not great here, but if you've got more than one deal on these companies, it will sum them up within each like branch of this roll up as well. So that you can see on the far left there, there's actually the one that Dan's looking at there, that's got a deal, but the one above doesn't. So you can actually like see how much each kind of like child part of this structure is contributing to the overall deal amount that you've collected at the top.
Will you scroll into that a little more?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, Austin, are you saying that the
Yeah,
35 above would actually be 70? There were 235 deals.
That's right. So like in that bottom company there that's actually got one, if there were like a handful of deals there, that would all sum up. And then if there was just one on that visual integrated consulting above, then that would then give you the next sum. And then like it basically gives you all of the points.
That's awesome. So not only individually that department, subsidiary up to that, and then overall as well, it rolls.
Yeah, we need to put some better demo data in our account.
All right, Sprocketeers, you are seeing like a live, not that this is going to change ticker tape speed, right? But man, week to week, seeing how these changes your activity based on them that come out, depending on your sales cycle. It's just fantastic, guys.
And the other thing I didn't mention last time round is you can navigate straight to the org chart as well. So obviously between the two, you can go between them and go down to the contact level. So this is the account map and the account structure, and then you can dive straight into the org chart. So for this one, it'll go straight onto the Beyond Visual org chart that we were just working on. Gone on longer than I thought there, Grant.
Good.
Well,
there's so much visually, guys.
And just like last couple of things from me before Austin can show you the fun stuff, the really fun stuff, is in the top left-hand corner we've got like a reporting section. So again, like just to show like how we're tied into target accounts on HubSpot, is you can filter between target accounts, see which charts that you've got built out, see if our company owner, so as in if it's your account or if you're doing deal reviews with your colleagues, then you can do that. And then automatically we show you the ones that you have charts built out on. And I won't go into this now, but we do push properties back into HubSpot as well. So things like, is a contact on a chart? Is there a chart built on this particular company? When was it last updated? So we have some pretty smart workflows that our customers put together. So that's worth mentioning.
Yeah, I'm happy to show a couple of those really quickly, very, very quickly. I've got some in the demo account, so I could do.
I'll stop sharing and you can share, Austin.
Cool. Right. Let's see. Okay, this is good. So I've not shared my screen on Discord before, so I'm guessing it's going to ask me to.
It's going to ask you to.
That was
great. He shared his screen. Awesome. Watching.
Right. I don't know what you can see now.
Can't see.
Can you hear me again now? Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so I haven't shared my screen on Discord before, so the Mac has been really handy and made me quit the app and start it all over again. So, right, okay, should be able to do this now. There we go. Let me know if you can see this.
Yeah.
I don't know where I am, but I can hear you.
See your screen.
I can see my screen. See my screen twice. That's good.
It's like that. I'm not a cat, Judge. I promise you, I'm not a cat.
Right. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Still, I don't know what's happened now, but
and I can see.
Oh,
I just
lovely.
have one
Great.
question, Austin. You like corn?
Yeah. Do I like corn? I love corn. It's my favorite thing. No, why do I like corn?
The little kid with the corn meme? Not yet. I'll send it to you.
Oh, great.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Uh, Right.
We're on.
Cool.
You're on.
Great. Okay. I'll just like I was saying to Dan quickly, I'll just show these workflows really quick. So I actually put a little bit of work into this for somebody else recently. I'll start with the simplest one. So we've got we're pushing in these when you've last updated the org chart. There's like a date that keeps rolling every time you update the chart, and as Dan mentioned, it's quite good for building workflows that are like specific to like, say target accounts or something like that, because you can basically check that you're keeping a good understanding in the CRM of the buying group that you've been building up over time. So like, this is an easy one. It's if it hasn't been updated in say 60 days and it's a target account, then we should fire off a task for the company owner to make sure that it's still relevant and that nothing's changed too much, which is like super useful for the more CS style cases rather than the sales cases, use cases. And then I will jump to let's have a look at this one here as well, which is essentially as the deals move through each deal stage. When we get towards the later stages where things are more likely to become closed won or lost, then we can like check that we've connected a contact to the deal that has got the decision maker buying role, for example, and that we've mapped out enough contacts on the org chart so that we actually have a good idea that we're going to close this deal. And then again, use like whatever you want in HubSpot to send notifications, emails, or put things in lists or send tasks. And then one that's some of our best customers use that's kind of like more forceful is this workflow that drives some pipeline restrictions on the stages. So you can use the same workflow to check that you're keeping like enough contacts on the chart, use that to update a property, and then from that property, what you can do is you can prevent people from moving deals into pipeline stages when they haven't like put enough understanding into a chart and prove that they've got a decision making group kind of built. So in this example, I've got, I don't know which ones of these I've got, but if I drop this one in here, it should. Oh wait, I need to do this as a user, but because I've got like super admin permissions, I can change these properties. But for normal users, they wouldn't be able to like drop it in. They get the prompt here, but they can't fill this out, so they can't move it forward. But for those companies that have got charts built, it will already be pre-filled with yes, we've got those minimum requirements, and let you push them through the deal stages. So like this account here is that's the wrong thing. This account here has got a bunch of contacts on it that we've decided is like our minimum amount of a buying group. So
For those
therefore,
of you
I've kind of let
watching
you go
right
through.
now, Austin, sorry to interrupt. Austin is a super admin super user. The way you are able to
Quick.
mental model, click around, wait, no, here's where it is. You are our people.
That's what you get when you spend nearly 100% of your day building things on top of HubSpot. Eventually, you kind of find it like home. Yeah. Yeah, so this one's a good one if you want to like be really forceful and prevent people from like moving through those stages, like prevent deals from moving through those stages unless you've like I don't know, got buying roles on the chart or enough people mapped. But again, like it's pretty it's a lot of friction to put in front of the salesperson. So you might want something a bit lighter touch in terms of like notifications and setting up tasks and stuff like that. Also, you can tell this is a developer account. so I'm super admin of a developer account.
Super admin of a developer account. Playbooks are oftentimes something I know I've heard plenty of folks want to use as a way to get in front of having properties filled out or making sure they're filled out ever before you're able to move stages. However, with OrgChartHub, you're able to do some of those workflow add-ons where maybe the focus is the structure and then just that buying team. And so, like you're saying, Austin, it's a less abrasive approach than then nope, you just can't do it at all. It's helping you forward.
Yeah, and it's I know it's like it can be hard to build out the org charts given that there's quite a lot of structure there. Like if you're not entirely sure, it can be quite difficult to build out the org chart, which is like why Dan was saying earlier on, just like chuck on what you do know, and at least you are proving out that you've got an understanding. But yeah, it can be difficult. So sometimes it's nice to have a forceful step that makes you do it. So yeah, that was like the very, very brief world tour of those workflows. What I will quickly show is some of this new stuff that we're working on. So pushing into this idea of being a bit more flexible with this stuff. Now, prepare for this demo to definitely break. This is very, very, very early stuff for us. So I've opened up this new thing we're calling relationship mapping. Like Dan showed, we've got like contact to contact mapping inside OrgChartHub, and then we've got company to company mapping for parent and child companies. You don't see those both at the same time, and there's like really what people are doing when they're mapping out these org charts is it's about a deal. It's about like finding the decision making group for a particular deal. It's not really about mapping out an entire org. So where we're going with relationship mapping is kind of leaning into all of these things, and we're going to let you map more stuff on these maps and in a more flexible way. So I'm just going to quickly add in a deal to start. And then once I've placed it on the map, I can kind of like move it around however I want. It's going to tell me that it's already associated to some other stuff in the CRM, which I may also want to drop onto this map. So I've added on the primary company. And then also I can tell that there's a couple of people that are already associated to this deal as well. So maybe I should add those onto this map. I'll add one more that's probably also, here we go. Yeah, cool. So I've got a bunch of contacts on here, and I can like reshape it to make a bit more sense of it. So now I can start to build like an understanding of the deal and the contacts and the companies that are all related. And then once I've done that, I might want to add other things which aren't actually attached already. So if I had, say, myself on here, maybe I'm actually involved in this deal in some way. Maybe I'm, I don't know, managing this deal. And then I can use these associations, which are the two-way sync with HubSpot's new association labels features, to say that I'm the deal account manager. And so now I've made that connection on this in a visual way. And then I can grab the companies that maybe I'm associated with. And then there's quite a lot of information getting put on here already. In accounts that have it turned on, custom objects can come on here too. So if you have like products or offices or like other real estate use cases or something like that where you've got these custom objects, you can put these into the map. And then once you've kind of got your information on from HubSpot, you can do some more stuff like draw it all over it and annotate it with your own information. So maybe I'll put this all in a big circle. Oh God, I've selected a bunch of other stuff as well. It's like I say, it's early days, right? So I'll grab these two things, move them out of the way a little, group all this together. Group all that together. We'll stick a label on here as well, actually, and say like this is the target deal. Cool. Yeah, group that. And then I can kind of move this independently of this other stuff here. You can see where we're going with this. We're starting to basically let you use something that's more interactive, like a drawing thing, like a Figma or something like that. Same thing for like adding stickies as well. We want to put in two-way note syncs so that you can create notes and see like notes that are attached to contacts and companies straight on here. And basically, you can just use this to quickly throw a bunch of stuff on from your HubSpot account and then just annotate it all. And then when you close it, it's all kind of synced back into HubSpot as well. Other things on this is this multiplayer. So if Dan had opened this as well, our cursors are flying about like it's kind of like Figma. So you can kind of get a good feel, especially in a remote, if you're working on something at the same time. And then beyond that, it's like we've got this like properties stuff similar to how OrgChartHub works today, where we can like pick and choose which contact properties or deal properties or company properties you want to show in these in this sidebar. And obviously we're going to get to the point where you can edit these. And then I had another thing I was going to say, but I completely forgot what it was.
How
All
much
the
more?
insight stuff that we've been doing. Yeah, sorry. Like I'm just kind of going a little bit further into the roadmap now, but like all the insight stuff that we talk about with OrgChartHub. So the activity heat maps, the roll ups of the deal amounts. We want to get even more of that metadata onto these visuals, so that instead of limiting yourself to kind of seeing one of these things at a time inside HubSpot, or looking at it from a contact point of view inside OrgChartHub, or a company's point of view inside OrgChartHub, you can actually like bring it all together inside the relationship mapping as well, if that's if that's how you want to work. Yeah, so
I
this
can't
is
take
what
it.
we're
I
working
gotta
on
lay
now.
down. Austin, Dan, that
Sorry.
I can't take it. I'm inundated with data and context and ability and integration. I'm overwhelmed in the best way with all of the information I want, visualized the way I want it. That's
Well,
amazing.
you'll definitely have a lot of choice with this new stuff. You'll definitely get a lot of choice. So yeah,
Thank you
it's
for
going to be a
showing
bit of a
us.
journey on that.
I know you had done a beautiful job of rolling out a video prior to inbound, doing a bit of a sneak peek here into this new feature. Uh, I know Scott Brinker said, "Holy cats!" That was my favorite. It really does seem like you're taking the best of what you've built so far and putting it into this tool that's allowing us to genuinely visualize all of our data inside HubSpot, but then also create a two-way sync so I'm not creating this island of data outside of HubSpot. You're allowing me to connect them, not just visualize them.
Yeah, that's right. And like everything we're trying to do is we want it all to be inside HubSpot. We want you to be able to use workflows. We want you to be able to build lists. Like everything that we can put back into HubSpot, we want to put there. We're building these only for HubSpot. We just want HubSpot to be the database for this stuff, really. There there aren't that many tools like that on HubSpot at the moment. There's a few, and it's getting a bit more popular. But we honestly think that's the way you should be building software for the CRM. So
Well done. It looks beautiful. You can go over to the marketplace right now. If you were listening, Sprocketeer's listening, you can go over to the marketplace right now and you can install OrgChartHub. So up at the top right, your little marketplace icon, type in OrgChartHub and you can hear more from these guys. If you made it this far into this video, that means you already know. Go ahead and install. And then the additional things that Austin just showed, how do you want people to get access if they would like access?
I think ideally messages in the Sprocketeer community, because there's a thread already in there, and if they can add that, if you could share that link, Grant, that would be
Awesome.
great. Because if they can add themselves on that, then we'll can then go one by one and enable it.
There is a thread of access to the new stuff, so I will share it as a outside of Discord in the comments here. So listening on link Twitch, YouTube, then I'll add it to the comments. If you're in Discord, search it, and you can find it there. Just let Dan and Austin know that you want access to their new fangled digs.
Yeah, and that's that's probably about 20 times more people that have seen it in the last 5 minutes. Very few people have seen it so far, so
It's amazing what you're building. You both are just genuine guys. Had enjoyable time chatting with you, and it's really come up on the back of lots of great conversations prior to be honest. So it was your pleasure for me to be with you on the masterclass and to see all the awesome stuff that you're. Thanks for sharing it with us.
thanks for having us, Grant. Yeah, it's been good.
You're building a great community, so loving it.
We're doing it. You're awesome. All right, everyone. That's it for the OrgChartHub Masterclass. We love you, Sprocketeers. Get out there, go spinny spinny, and we'll see you at the next masterclass. Spinny
See
spinny,
ya.
guys.
Yeah.
This will be it. Yeah, you should
Until we build another one.